ni sababu ya uzembe ya serikali ya Kenya Kwanza. Wameshindwa na kazi.
Embakasi East MP Babu Owino has however asked the government to resettle the Embakasi via victims in the completed unit of the affordable housing project.
Geleshe na ningesema ya kwamba RUTO hao wananchi wako over 300 in number. Hao wananchi wote hawana mahali pa kuenda. Hao wananchi wapewe zile affordable houses zenye zimeisha. Hawa ndio the real hustlers. Watolewe hapa, kuna affordable houses pale Ngara ambazo zimeisha. Kila mtu apewe kama RUTO ako genuine.
Raila Odinga is among the ranking leaders in the country who have showed solidarity with the victims of the Embakasi fire tragedy as the Azimio team channeled 3 million shillings to a charitable kitty set to help the victims of the tragedy.
Taka viongozi wenye utu ndani ya kaunti ya Nairobi, si ndio? Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga, mimi ni kushukuru kwa niaba ya watu wa mradi, ulitupatia shilingi milioni 1. Nishukuru Babu Owino, ulitupatia shilingi milioni 1. Mimi natangaza hapa baba, wabunge wako baba, wametoa shilingi 1,800. Members of Parliament wa ODM wamepatia Babu Owino, kwa hivyo tumefikisha zaidi ya shilingi milioni 3 kwa ajili ya waathiriwa wa pale huu mkasa. Alafu mwingine anakuja kutuambia na ako na pesa yetu ya disaster.
Mivin Getembe, Lookuptv, Nairobi.
4 suspects in the Embakasi gas explosion case were yesterday arraigned in court. In a miscellaneous application, the Directorate of Criminal Investigations sought to have the suspects Derek Kimathi, Joseph Makau, David Walunya Ongare and Marian Mutete Kioko remanded to complete investigations against them. Kimathi is the proprietor of the illegal gas filling plant in Mradi, Embakasi East, where fire broke out on Thursday night, killing 6 people and injuring nearly 300 others.
The 4 suspects were on Tuesday morning arraigned at the Milimani Law Courts before Chief Magistrate Delphina Alego over the Embakasi gas explosion that left 6 people dead. In a miscellaneous application, the Directorate of Criminal Investigations sought to have the suspects Derek Kimathi, Joseph Makau, David Walunya Ongare and Marian Mutete Kioko remanded to complete investigations against them. Kimathi is the proprietor of the illegal gas filling plant in Mradi, Embakasi East, where the fire broke out on Thursday night. The 4 are yet to be charged, but the authorities are considering bringing several charges against them, including murder, abuse of office, and negligence resulting in harm. Furthermore, police argue that the 4 persons have been hiding since the matter was reported, and a lot of resources have been used to track them down, adding that they should not be released on cash bail. In the explosion, 6 people lost their lives, including a 1-year toddler, with at least 300 other people nursing serious injuries. Authorities are pursuing 5 additional suspects, including 2 employees of NEMA, the manager of the gas filling plant, and 2 drivers amid growing public demands for accountability, with government agencies blaming each other over what went wrong. Ian Keitani, Lookuptv.
Kakamega Senator Bonnie Halwale is set to sue businessman Clophas Shimanyula for allegedly defaming him following the death of his worker last month. Halwale accuses Clophas, also known as Toto, of going public on social media with that defamatory claims disputing the police findings relating to the death of his worker Kizito Amukunemoi.
Addressing the media at the Malinya police station after recording a statement on Tuesday, the Kakamega senator accused the Kakamega County government contractor of profiling him as a murderer.
We are suing the contractor of Kakamega, I beg your pardon, Mr. Cleophas Shimanyula Toto. I'm suing. My wives are suing. My children, who are also adults, are suing. The parents of my wives are suing. The police will make up their own minds if they want to sue. I think they are going to. From what I have heard when I was reporting the matter, Dr. Muchana is going to sue if he chooses. So we would like Cleophas Shimanyula to come and present evidence that we are all of us, all these people.
Halole says the allegation cast aspersion on Moi's death, intimating that it was not as a result of injuries sustained from the bull attack, but that he was instead stabbed by the lawmaker.
And therefore, I'm going to pursue the contractor of Kakamega County to its logical conclusions. And I will use all my talents and resources to test the veracity of his statement and make sure that all aggrieved parties are properly compensated for the serious damage. Tomorrow, I will do a press conference in Nairobi that we shall be led through by my team of lawyers who will tell the country how they will proceed thereafter.
Kwa majina naitwa David Barasa. As the community of Panyala, we are going to sue Toto, Cleophas Shimanyula, kwa sababu we are very much worried. Our sister might end up losing the marriage because of such a stupid things.
Melamirikao ya wamama wote Kenya nzima kuanzia Kakamega County kuchafuliwa jina ya kwamba tunaweza lala na wafanyikazi. Hiyo ni ishara ya kuonesha kwamba wamama si wachafu wa kufanya jambo kama hilo. Kwa hivyo tunasimama na
Moving on, Nakuru County government has been put on the spot over the deteriorating revenue collection that has dropped by a whopping 2 billion shillings from 3.6 billion to 1.6 billion. The Senate has vowed to investigate the discrepancy since government came into power amid reports of graft and misuse of public funds.
I think if we start disobeying court orders, I think we are doomed. This country is going to go to places like where Somalia is today. And the court orders must be respected. I'm going to take this matter very seriously. We are not going to sing because somebody has said we don't obey court orders. And some senators and members of the National Assembly are also singing the same song.
Enforcement officers in the middle of the night where patients were chased and forcibly removed from dialysis machines and ICUs, heading to loss of lives after disruption. And the overall effects of the disruption have been...
6 people from Kangai village in Kirinyaga County have died and 5 others gone blind after allegedly consuming poisonous lethal brew. Speaking at Career Dispensary, Kirinyaga Health CEC George Karoki confirmed that the brew contained ethanol leading to death and other adverse effects. Shamilia Barasa with the details.
From a night of party and dance to barely comprehending their surroundings, a poisonous brew that killed 6 people in Kangai, Kirinyaga County has left others fighting for their lives.
Kuja hapa kwa mama yangu, amekunywa pombe, sijui ni pombe gani, amekunywa wasasi wengi walikufa jana, leo walikufa, hata Kirugoya alikufa, hata hapa Kalia walikufa, 8, sijui tutapeleka wapi, watoto wetu.
Authorities now say they are working around the clock to bring perpetrators to book. Swear, following the death of 5 people allegedly killed by illegal alcohol in the area of Kiambu County, Nakada, KEBS and KRA joined forces to crack down illegal alcohol in the area. Area residents have supported the action, adding that many bars have been opened in residential areas, urging the county government to involve the public when licensing bars.
Hapa tarehe 30 tulikuwa tunataka hii virabu ifungwe. Hii kijiji iko na virabu 4. Na kuna mambo mengi inaendelea sana. Si tunafurahia juu wamesikia kilio yetu, wamekuja na wakafunga hii virabu. Tunasikia vizuri sana.
The residents have also accused county government of Kiambu licensing bars without conducting any background check, saying that illegal alcohol and drugs have caused the death of 5 people and cause great harm to youths in the region.
Barua za kibirabu kwanza wanashirikiana na wanakijiji, wanajua vile hali iko na mahali inaekwa, ili hata wakitoa sheria za kuuza pombe kuuza ikuwe imekazwa kabisa, si ati kuweka masaji. Hata kwa kifungua unapata masaa yenye wamepatiwa sio wanafungua nayo.
Nakada CEO Anthony Mirikwa said the three institutions will cooperate with the county government to inspect licensed bar in the bid to stop illegal alcohol and bring perpetrators to book.
My name is Anthony Mirikwa. I'm the CEO of Nakada, but specifically emanating from the hue and cry that came from the community of Ndeia last week. Out of that, we started carrying out a compliance check on the establishments here to ensure that not only are they compliant, observing the specified time, making sure that they are licensed.
Shamila Baraza, Lookuptv.
Officers of the Kenya Plant Health Inspectorate Service KEFIS have launched a crackdown on fake maize seeds at different shops to ensure farmers access quality seeds. The officer said that the inspection will help reduce the spread of plant diseases.
In a bid to crack down fake maize seeds in Narok, Inspectorate Service KEFIS has started a campaign visiting different shops in Narok, Suswa, Ololunga, Nairigie, Sogo and Mulot to ensure healthy seeds reach farmers.
We also survey the markets, to open air markets. So in total we managed to visit 67 seed sellers, and in all generally they are selling quality seeds, and they are adhering to the seed regulation.
The officers led by Wilson Sitine say that the exercise has revealed that indeed no stores were selling counterfeit seeds in the region that would result with low yields and spread of maize lethal necrosis disease.
The main objective was also to ensure that the seed that the farmers are getting are not counterfeit, and this is a risk of the farmers getting low yield, spreading MLN. We know MLN is a major disease in this region.
He has also asked farmers to plant other crops besides maize in order to reduce the spread of maize lethal necrosis disease and increase yields.
So we encourage them to do crop rotation. They should not plant the seeds continuously or do relay planting. Especially in Narok South or these regions, they normally have 2 seasons. So they normally they harvest maize and then they plant again. But we encourage them, instead of planting maize, they should plant other crops like beans, so that in the next season they can plant maize. In that way, they will reduce the impact of the disease.
Ebikadeni, Lookuptv.
So this morning, there's just a lot that we have to talk about. In as regards service delivery, some of the issues that we're going to open a conversation with is just how the government is living up to the promises that are made in terms of protection of human lives and dignity. We're going to mention of an issue that has happened in Kirinyaga County where 6 lives have been lost. So it's 12 in a very short period on areas that the government essentially promised to protect lives upon. But we leave that shortly to the bigger issue that we're talking about this morning. Now, there's a proposal by the Ministry of Education to have parents pay school fees through e-citizen. Why? They say this is informed by the government wanting to push centralization of services, all the way from your passports, your school fee, registration, vehicle registration, document registration, huduma number registration. But there's something that is really going on that we're not speaking about this morning. Now, I'm going to read you a message here from one of our concerned viewers who's sent me this message yesterday telling me things are really bad. Now, I'm not going to say their name, but I'm just going to read exactly what they said. It's been 2 months since I applied for a national identity card. My sibling, who is supposed to take this identity card, cannot essentially qualify for things like bursary, for things like loan applications, because identity cards are essential. Going to huduma number, not once, but very many times, they say the period is 2 weeks. But This, as we start February, is now the 3rd month. Continues to say, I have cases of 26 parents also complaining of the same. Now, we talk about that this morning, and all this is coming from the government's drive then to move these services to e-citizen. The question is, are we missing it in the hope of making it better? Would we have to pay school fee through e-citizen? Is it something that is plausible? Is it necessary at all to ask parents to go pay school fee through e-citizen? What are we getting at? That, plus many other issues, I'll be introducing the guests who will be joining us in the studio shortly. I see some of them have already sat and ready to crackle on this morning on the Morning Drift. The hashtag is the Morning Drift. My name is Simba Elijah Charles Kiage. We are live across our social media platforms at Lookuptv in all of them. See you on the other side of the break.
Once again, tuko hapa Angel Center for Abandoned Kids, all because of you.
My name is Catherine Wanjiru. I am the admin, Angel Center for Abandoned Children. Our founder is Wamaitha Mwangi. We currently have 64 children, 32 going to school, and among those 32, 2 are special children, and we are left at the home with 32. Now the toddlers and the infants. To the RUTO Foundation, thank you so much for remembering us. Guys, we lack words. We lack words. We don't know what to say. Thank you for remembering us. You made a promise and you have delivered. And may God bless you. To my fellow Kenyans, as usual, cheza loto, sio ndoto. Angel Center tumeshinda loto.
Every time you play lotto, 25% goes to the RUTO Foundation, which supports our fellow Kenyans through various causes. Thank you for your help. Together, we are changing lives.
Mambo ni mawili, kufikisha, kumwaga na kurudi. Kulala ni mwaka mpya.
Bua muka we mse. Nini mbaya? Wewe kwani wani video dereva anaendesha gari vibaya, lazima tususe. Anaendesha gari na kwa simu the whole time hata angalia barabara. Tusimame. Wewe dereva wewe, mwaka iliyopita peke yake watu zaidi ya 3,000 walipoteza maisha yao barabarani kwa sababu ya tabia kama hizo. Hautatuangamiza tukiona.
Naomba msamaha, nitampeleka vizuri.
Si wameomba msamaha. Sasa tuende tusafiri kwa mwendo wa aste.
Dere Smart hufikisha abiria salama. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako na NTSA kwa ushirikiano na European Union.
Save a Life is a non-profit organization that has taken the front line in transforming lives in the entire country. So far, we have transformed life of over 100,000 people through our programs, which include medical support, youth empowerment, street family program, feeding program, and climate change. Join us today as we transform lives. As we always say, service to humanity is service to God. Save a life, transforming lives.
Are you a junior secondary school, a college, a TVET institution, or a university, and you want to advertise your intake? Book now and advertise with us today on both Lookuptv and all our digital platforms. Call us today. Or email us on sales@lookuptv.co.ke.
So this morning, we will talk about e-citizen in its entirety. But just before we get there, there's a concerning issue that we have to weigh in on the way the government is fighting corruption. Now, on Monday, the Standard gave us a headline that got tags wagging, and I'm going to read it. They said, for President Dr. William RUTO, on corruption, it's all about talk. In fact, the word they used, back. That's what they said. So, and I'm introducing this particular subject because there's a developing story that has got majority of Kenyans talking about how the government is essentially approaching this issue. And I'm talking about the fire tragedy in Embakasi. Let's take a look at this story. Once we come back, we table our deliberations, and then I introduce a guest that will joining us this morning.
Tumekuja kwa msiba. Hii ni kusema jamaa yenyewe alipanga maafa ya watu hapa.
Visiting the site of Embakasi gas explosion that led 6 people dead, Azimio leader Raila Odinga, accompanied by Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna and Embakasi East MP Babu Owino, now calls for compensation of the victims, suggesting that the government should give each of them 500,000 Kenya shillings and secure them a home and affordable housing project.
Ingine ni EPRA ambayo vilevile wana jukumu ya kufanya. Watu wengi wamelala kwa kazi, wamelala kazini. Tunasema tunataka kila jamii hapa ipewe ridhaa ya shilingi milioni 500,000, shilingi laki 500,000, 500,000 kila jamii. Kwa hao wote natakana wachukuliwe hatua vikali. Kama ingekuwa ni serikali ya Azimio, mambo ingekuwa tofauti sana.
Turning the heat once again on the government, Odinga has blasted the Kenya Kwanza government following the plan to operate in a residential area which was bound to cause harm to the citizens.
Hii ni sababu ya uzembe ya serikali ya Kenya Kwanza. Wameshindwa na kazi.
Embakasi East MP Babu Owino has however asked the government to resettle the Embakasi via victims in the completed units of the affordable housing project.
Geleshe na ningesema ya kwamba RUTO, hawa wananchi wako over 300 in number. Hawa wananchi wote hawana mahali pa kuenda. Hawa wananchi wapewe zile affordable houses zenye zimeisha. Hawa ndio the real hustlers. Watolewe hapa, kuna affordable houses pale Ngara ambazo zimeisha. Kila mtu apewe kama RUTO ako genuine.
Raila Odinga is among the ranking leaders in the country who have showed solidarity with the victims of the Embakasi fire tragedy as the Azimio team channeled 3 million shillings to a charitable kitty set to help the victims of the tragedy.
Taka viongozi wenye utu ndani ya kaunti ya Nairobi, si ndio? Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga, mimi ni kushukuru kwa niaba ya watu wa mradi, ulitupatia shilingi 1,000,000. Nishukuru Babu Owino, ulitupatia shilingi 1,000,000. Mimi natangaza hapa baba, wabunge wako baba wametoa shilingi 800,000. Members of Parliament wa ODM wamepatia Babu Owino, kwa hivyo tumefikisha zaidi ya shilingi 300,000 kwa ajili ya waathiriwa wa pale huu mkasa. Alafu mwingine anakuja kutuambia na ako na pesa yetu ya disaster.
Mivin Getembe, Lookuptv, Nairobi.
View is an opposition side view, essentially telling the government that you need to resettle all the victims of the Embakasi fire strategy. The story doesn't end there. Now, the government has reacted, and I want you to take keen notice of the next story, because that's where a conversation then would emanate from this morning. There are people in court, but then you ask yourself, who is that in court? Sheila, take us to the next story. That's story number 6 this morning. That's the next story on the Embakasi fire tragedy.
From a night of party and dance to barely comprehending their surroundings, a poisonous brew that killed
reigned at the Milimani Law Courts before Chief Magistrate Delphina Alego over the Embakasi gas explosion that left 6 people dead. In Amila Senior's application, the Directorate of Criminal Investigations sought to have the suspects Derek Kimathi, Joseph Makau, David Walunya Ongari and Marian Mutete Kioko remanded to complete investigations against them. Kimathi is the proprietor of the illegal gas filling plant in Mradi Embakasi East, where the fire broke out on Thursday night. The 4 are yet to be charged, but the authorities are considering bringing several charges against them, including murder, abuse of office, and negligence resulting in harm. Furthermore, police argue that the 4 persons have been hiding since the matter was reported, and a lot of resources have been used to track them down, adding that they should not be released on cash bail. In the explosion, 6 people lost their lives, including a 1-year toddler, with at least 300 other people nursing serious injuries. Authorities are pursuing 5 additional suspects, including 2 employees of NEMA, the manager of the gas filling plant, and 2 drivers amid growing public demands for accountability, with government agencies blaming each other over what went wrong. Ian Keitani, Lookuptv.
That's it. So now you've got both views then, and what the government is currently doing. That's what we're going to start from. Let me then take time to introduce the guests who are joining us this morning for our conversation. I do have Lucy Moria, HSC. Wow, it's a good morning. All right. Who's the CEO, founder, Kenya Pro, that is the aging organization. It's an NGO. How are you doing, Lucy?
I'm okay, thank you.
Happy to have you around. I do also have a man that I have to say Happy New Year to. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing fine.
Just happy to see you, man.
Thank you so much for
and then Sankara, how are you doing, sir?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. Let's start like this. And I'm going to start with you, Lucy, so that we get this particular conversation in proper perspective. I mean, there are already people in court over the Embakasi fire tragedy. But then missing out of the court are the officials who gave permits to the operation of that station. I mean, the government has reacted fast. It has picked the ones who are running that business. And they've continued to say, we are going to get charges for them. But then when you read out the details of that story, Lucy, you will see that it was flagged over and over again. But then at the final end, they got the requisite permits to operate that business. If you're going to arrest people, where would have you started?
From the time they were told not to continue, and they continued.
But under whose authority?
The authority of the government.
So why don't we have a lot of people arrested in this particular case? Because the government has moved very fast. It has arrested the people who are doing that business. But key figures that are missing out of this, Lucy. Number 1, the PS Energy, the CS, the PS Petroleum, the CS Energy, Governor Sakaja, and NEMA officials who gave that particular permit. Why can't we see them getting arrested fast? Because they're the ones who oversaw the operation of that particular business.
Actually, that is how corruption has climaxed in our country. It's almost legal. It's legal. Because if someone, before you get started in any business, all these offices, you start with them.
Yes.
You start with the county government, where you even go for the permit. You start, and those permits, the PS, the CS, everyone is aware about it.
Yes.
This was not a small business. It's about gases. And it's in the residential areas where people live. There's the office of NEMA. So it's like, so Kenyans are not wrong that the corruption has climaxed, it is legalized. And that's what we are seeing.
Yes.
And then we waste with the small persons, catching them, putting them to jail. That is not what it is. And these small persons, actually, they are the hustlers. These are just victims for no reason. Someone hired them. Someone earned the permit. Someone and started their business idea, and they went to big offices. Honestly, Sakaja, which I've not even seen him there yet, he should be in jail together with, we are not, before even the national PS,
yes,
and the CES, the national CS,
yes,
we have the county government CEC,
yes,
and also we have the CEO in charge. And there's no way anyone would start any business without being authorized. That means someone, those big fishes, someone knew, and they know about it. So they should not even lie to Kenyans.
Yes.
They normalize that, oh, Kimathi, oh, the watchman. Seriously? Watchman? That's not okay.
Does that, Douglas, I want to come to you this morning as well. It's a question that has essentially got Kenyans talking this morning. And it is a headline we also saw on the Standard this morning. Sheila, if you can, the question that the Standard this morning was asking is, where does the buck stop? I mean, if you're going to arrest any other person in this strategy, where are you going to start from? Are you going to go to the people running this business, or you're going to do your investigations first and know who are these people from the authorities who allowed this business to continue despite multiple reports that indeed the business was flagged?
Thank you so much, Mr. Simba. I think where we are supposed to start is for the people who slept on the job. Because if report was made several times and it was never acted upon, and then this incident has happened, I think those people who are responsible, who got the information, must face the law. Yes, that's what I think. Yes. And I think I have to thank the government because so far some people have been arrested.
Would you say the wrong people have been arrested first? Because if you're going to start doing immediate arrests,
yes,
there's a feeling that indeed there are reports here that this business was flagged. Is it not okay to start with the authorizing agencies who allowed this business to continue?
I think that's where the investigation is going to start. From those who have been arrested, that's where the investigation is going to start, and then we know who slept on the job, who was in charge of what. And then I think that's the right way to talk about it. Because after arresting those people, they will say who authorized them to do this business. Because there's no way you can know who authorized without arresting those people, those people who were the victims. So I think that you are the government is on the right track. Yes. Because investigation does not happen in just 1 hour, 1 day.
That's it.
It takes time.
That's it.
Yes.
These are what the critics are saying, Douglas, and I'm gonna put it to you as well, that it's not very hard for you to know who co-signed that business permit, because the only thing that you need to actually get is the permit, and you will see exactly the date it was signed and who co-signed against that particular permit. So indeed, if you wanted to arrest somebody from NEMA, from the county offices, from the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum, you will know who those are.
I think those people, they'll be arrested because investigation is a process. It's not an event that one day is done. And I think the relevant authorities are working on the job. And very soon, I think that we are going to see them arrested. Yes.
I'll come to you, Douglas, because the details that you're not bringing out on this. Sankara, good morning, sir.
Good morning to you, Simba. Thank you for having me here. Just as I do say, besides being a national youth leader, I also do other things. I'm a director marketing at Gitch Bowel Drillers Limited. There we deal with bore drilling, availing clean water for the public. Because there's a problem we're having 60 years down since independence. We do pump installation, solarization, solar inverters, and everything. So let me touch on Mr. Douglas' happiness on the arrests that have been done. Mr. Shuka.
Yes.
Mr. Shuka, I'm a bit disturbed to hear that you are happy and you're happy for the government has arrested some people. I mean, this does not need even a class 8 certificate to tell. I have a business permit. It has the name Kennedy Sankara as the co-man who signed the certificate. Do you need to go and arrest the watchman at the gate who has been employed by the employer to earn something small to do investigations? Do watchmen also sign papers while getting business permits? Those are employees of this particular business. We need to know from the Bureau of Registration who signed or gave the authority for the business to run. It is not the watchman. We know who owns the business. Arrest that animal, look for the people who signed the permit, yes, deal with them. The thing here is that Mr. Shuka is not telling you, the president's friends, president's clansmen, the big men are in this deal. They are untouchable. We know who the CS Energy is. We know who the PS Energy is. We know who runs IPRA. We know who is the governor of Nairobi. He is a UDA sycophant. They cannot be touched. So they go for the small fish. I'm perplexed that he is happy. Arrest has been done for the small fish who are hustlers. Now you are an hustler, you are arrested for hustling, and the person who employed you is still at large. And then he tells us confidently that he's happy the government is doing something. What is that the government doing to you?
Mr. Shuka, let's begin from there. That they know who these are. They know, like, if you wanted to pick somebody from NANEMA office,
it doesn't need investigations.
Like, you just pick that certificate, which is, by the way, lawfully granted to these people. You will see who co-signed against it.
Yes. Yeah. Well, what I'm saying, I'm not saying I'm happy about it.
Yes.
But I'm saying at least the government has arrested some people.
Why? And they've arrested the wrong people. You don't need to be happy for the wrong arrest.
You know, with the crime, you don't end a judgment until you investigate. And you see, as I said, investigation has started from the gate man. and other people.
Let me tell you, that would be an elaborate scheme by the government to ensure that justice is not served to the people. Once you do, the best way to interfere with investigations and criminal offenses is to enhance arrest of wrong individuals while leaving the right people. If you arrest a watchman and you want to convince me that the crime is being researched so that we get to the bottom of the line who committed this, you don't need to arrest the wrong people. That is what we've been doing as a country, and that's why no criminal case has been dealt with to the finality.
Because at the end of the day,
we arrest wrong people, we prosecute wrong people, we take them to court because of lack of evidence. The DPP, the courts do not entertain hearsay. The courts act on evidence. So when the evidence is missing, they take a lot of time dragging all these cases in court to give the big fish a leeway to escape. That is not the case. That is the case which is being done here. There is no actual arrest.
I'm really shocked. I'm really shocked.
I'm
really shocked that my brother here is saying the government has done a good thing. Yeah, at least it has arrested somebody, because that would be the starting point of looking for the criminals. That is not right. Who doesn't know? It's not you starting from the wrong point. The government knows exactly who authorized that and who is this. This is a county government, the name officials. The watchman, honestly speaking, they arrested a watchman and you are comfortable about that.
If the
that's not right.
And
then like you're saying, this is the beginning of, at the end of the day, we'll be told, oh, there is not enough evidence.
Yes.
Because actually there is no way there will be enough evidence with a watchman.
The court will never entertain a case where a watchman is answerable for the operationalization of a business that is not registered under the watchman's...
Douglas, I'm going to come back to you. Let's see the names that have been essentially fronted in this particular case. And we're asking the questions, why are they not accountable as fast as that? We do have Energy and Petroleum CS, that is David Chilcher. He says, in guaranteeing that the trade in LPG in the country is safe, the buck stops with the CS. That's what they're saying. Number two, Mohammed Liban, who is the Petroleum PS, that as the accounting officer, Liban is responsible for ensuring dealers play by the rules, because all of them are registered And from his particular ministry, there has to be timely investigations that are done on who are these people that have the permits that are selling this gas in the country. Number 3, Daniel Kiptos, Director EPRA, the law requires EPRA to work with other agencies in bringing to book illegal operators. As a him, that indeed, out of these investigations that are getting done in the ministry, then an EPRA boss could have said, well, there are some who are not essentially legal operators in the country. They have to be brought to the book. Then we do have Johnson Sakaja, who's the governor Nairobi. As the city planner, governor's order on LPG traders yesterday came a little too late because he had to wait until that accident happened for him to come in and say, we're going to close all the illegal gas operators
After
within
6 people
the
are
city.
dead.
After 6 people were
After
dead.
300 people are
That's it.
homeless.
So in terms
Yeah.
of his city planning also, you like to think that there was a massive failure from his end as well. So Douglas, with these guys who've been earmarked then as the ones that will be responsible for these tragedies that we've seen, somebody said yesterday that maybe 2 or 3 of them would have come out and say, we resign and we are sorry Kenyans for letting you down, but we haven't seen that. But even when the government is speaking on who to arrest, they're starting with the small fish before they get to the big fish.
I don't think the government is starting with the small fish because in all this, we have people who are directly responsible in issuing these licenses. And according to me, those are the people who are supposed to be arrested first.
That is exactly what you say.
Yes. How do you bring in the governor? And I would like to ask my friend Sankara for referring to the governor as the UDA sycophant. I think the governor is not a UDA sycophant.
Yes.
The governor is an elected governor of Nairobi. He has the mandate of the people and he deserves respect.
But
as
I'm
we
entitled
engage,
to my opinion.
as we engage, let's have that respect to positions.
We don't respect positions that do not deliver.
No, what I'm saying, you cannot call a governor a sycophant.
But I said it is my constitutional right. The right to freedom of expression does not lie with the
let's use
UDA
the right terminologies.
That is the right terminology.
If you differ with me, let's differ. But
I say no, actually, I'm not going to apologize.
What I'm saying
is a UDA sycophant.
What I'm
I
saying,
can go to court.
What I'm saying is, the authorities have swung in action. They have started to arrest. You know, I cannot just come and arrest you because somebody has said, I want to arrest you. The law of evidence is there. I must have evidence why I'm arresting you.
So where's the evidence for arresting the watchman?
Yes, Sankara, let me continue.
Yeah, so we must have the evidence.
Yes.
And we start from those who are responsible, who are the responsible people to issue these licenses. Those are the people who are supposed to be arrested. And I think the government has arrested some of them.
Yes.
So I think we need to be patient, the process to take place. Investigation is not a one-day process. Investigation is a process. So let's give the government agencies to have a due process, to complete the process, and then we can, after that we can say, no, okay, why did you leave this one and yet he was culpable? I think that is what.
So just before I cross over to you, Lucy, by the way, and this is the question that we're asking. Then we're talking about system failures in the country, Douglas, at this time. There's just a couple of things that do not work. I mean, every time we're complaining about rogue border operators, tattoos that are on the road that should not be on the road, people dying on road accidents, and when you look at the reasons as to why they're dying, it's because maybe some ministry somewhere is not doing 1 or 2 things. When this is happening in a ministry, well, you're saying, well, there's massive destruction of property, 6 people have died because of negligence within this particular ministry. Aren't we supposed to ask the relevant authorities on why was this in operation? And look at their comments now. I will start with the interior CS, Kithure Kindiki, who said that, well, I'm going to make sure that all illegal gas dealers in the country, their licenses are going to be revoked. That we have to wait until after a tragedy for a whole CS to come in and tell us there are illegal operators in this country and we're going to do a crackdown. Is that not irresponsible? I mean, what is your role as a CS in that particular docket? Is it not to make sure that this stops?
I think I'll give it to CS Professor Kindiki. He has done a good job. But that's not to say that we don't have some rotten apples in the system. And those are the people we are going to uproot. And His Excellency the President has made it very clear that we don't have sacred cows in this government. Nobody's above the law. And I think the CS is very serious. If you see, since he took over the docket of security, his hands on job, his hands on the deck, is a man who's not just speaking, he's on the ground. And you see, in being a CS, you are not everywhere. You are not everywhere. So when something happens like that, it shows you there is something somewhere which needs your attention. And I think he has come to attention, said, I'm going to crack down and to ABCD. So I think this is okay.
Yes, let me tell you.
Sankara, just before, Sankara, I'm going to come to you.
On that statement,
I'm going to come to you.
The CS does not need to be everywhere. We have a government that is structured all the way to the ward level. That's why we have chiefs. Why must the CS be there for the job?
Sankara, I'm going to come to you.
It is systems failure.
That's it. Let me balance the conversation by introducing Lucy into this conversation as well. I mean, when we have a CS now come on later on and then say, we're going to make sure that this and this and this and this happens, aren't we supposed to turn around and ask him, wait, it's been 2+ years of you being in that particular government, in that particular docket. Why are we talking about this particular mess in your ministry 2 years on since you were appointed to be a CS in that particular docket? Shouldn't they go home, or shouldn't they be charged for negligence?
When we have a CS talking like that, like Hideki, like what he has said in so many things will happen, they never happened. And when we have a president who says that corruption will be a no-go zone, it will be zero completely, and now it is legalized, and we have someone like our brother here saying that when you get the evidence, what other evidence do you need to have the CS, the PS by now, if it is in some countries, he should be resigned. He lost 6 lives. 300 people are homeless. As we sit here, we don't know what's happening to them. And no one even actually cares.
The government is
There's
still
little. It's still asking when we get evidence. Which evidence more than that? We should be talking when the CSs and PSs are resigned. We should even start from there.
Yes. Douglas, I'm going to come to you.
So those, if they are not resigned, the 2 sets of government, the county government officials, starting with Sakanja, CEC yake, PS, the name officials, and the PS Petroleum, they should be in as we find out, because you are not proved guilty until you are proved guilty. They should be in together with the watchmen, and then we hear them being arraigned there, then they can be released if they are not guilty.
But Sankara, here's the question that I want to put to you as well in respect to this conversation. I mean, the DPP has moved in very quick and fast to get this far. And that was really fast. They were known, their names were known, because their names appeared on that certificate. Good. Now, since we know them, why can't we also say, in this particular ministry, you're telling us now that indeed every other rogue operator in this country is going to be brought to book?
Yes.
Is it not okay for us to say, Sankara, oh, so you know they're there, and you've allowed them to operate up until this particular accident? Is that enough for us to say, man, you got to go home? Is it okay for us to fire somebody based on this?
Yes.
In a serious constitutional democracy, where the rule of law is not a creative convenience, but what governs the entire republic, where the president, where any other leader is not above the law.
Yes.
You know, when you read the Constitution, Article 1.1 of the 2010 Constitution, it doesn't say President William Ruto, CJ Martha Koome, or Moses Wetangula, the Speaker, is above the law. It says the sovereign power belongs to the people of Kenya. The underlining word there is article there, which denotes the people. We are the majority. So, in short, no one is above the law. If I go the wrong side of the law today, regardless of my social status, regardless of my political positions, regardless of my financial muscles, the law must be respected. If we were very serious as a country, but again we have leaders who have no decorum, we have dealers, they behave like dogs, eating fast. Leaders should eat last, not fast. he would have taken a very bold responsibility. Whoever's name was touched, when 6 Kenyans lost their lives, they would have done the most honorable thing to resign officially from their positions to pave way for investigations. But again, we have a government or leaders who kill Kenyans indirectly, daily. So they are not bothered when they see 6 Kenyans dying at once. This Kenya Kwanza government is killing us indirectly. This government is killing us psychologically with extreme taxation, with high cost of living, with reckless utterances. Some of us are so sensitive that whenever we undergo serious challenges as a country, you speak to us badly, psychologists will tell you, you motivate us to go down the fastest. So the government is not surprised because the government kills us indirectly. So I would expect, in my own opinion, Kindiki ought not to have been telling us when he's going to wipe out the illegal plans. He should wipe himself out first, out of that position, because he has failed. These are people who receive intelligence report. I don't know what NIS reports to the president. They only report about azimio and government critics, where they live, what they do, and how they should be put down. Is that what they report? They ought to be reporting this. A gas plant cannot operate without the information or knowledge of government operatives. A government arm is very long. It stretches all the way from Nairobi, all the way to Namanga. It stretches all the way from Namanga back to Kisumu, Dala. The government is everywhere. Kindiki must not be everywhere for the government to function. That's why we decentralized the government. The power was taken to the people. But again, this government believes that he or me, I must be there for everything to be done. Systems works in a democratic society. It must not be who is there for what to be done. The right thing will be done regardless of who is there, because it is systems, people-driven mentality. It is not a self-centered government where one thinks that without him, it's like another Bible is being written and it's another Jesus coming to save us.
And this guy did not operate without a license. Remember, the smallest unit of government, this includes the sub-chiefs, the chief of area.
What do they report to the
What do
government?
they report?
Yes.
Is there someone here
They've
operating?
noticed something peculiar.
Peculiar.
They should be reporting to
this was a legal business.
Yes.
According to the administration
And
around.
by the way,
there's a DO, there's a DC. So according to the administration, it was illegal.
I will not
who
be
legalized
surprised.
it?
I will not be surprised to hear that some of these illegal plans, in Kenya, most illegal businesses
Sankara will be coming
are
to you.
patronized by politicians. I would not be surprised that some of them are the leaders.
Just to point you out so that we see exactly then how we are fighting corruption in this country, even vis-a-vis how our neighbors are fighting. I want to read for you a headline that we saw this last year on December 21st, 2023, a headline that we ran right here at Lookuptv when our neighbors in Tanzania, Samia Hassan Suluhu, was sort of concerned as to why there were constant power blackouts in Tanzania. A report was tabled on exactly how things essentially never seem to work in their power utility firm. She came in and said, I don't understand why it's not working for us. So I'm going to send the entire board for the power farm home so that I can give people who really want to change Tanzania an opportunity to come in and make it change. So here we are seated asking, why are we seeing Kenyans dying? 6 of them are already out, 300 injured. And by the way, that number still continues to go up. Destruction of property up to this point that has not been even accounted for, by the way, as we speak today. Why haven't we seen somebody say, at this point in our country, we should be fighting this? An accident that can be avoided happening and killing people. Douglas, let me point it to you. It is an accident that could have been avoided, that has killed 6 people, injured scores, that it could have been avoided. Had somebody somewhere, at a certain ministry somewhere, at a certain board somewhere, done their job. It is negligence. So why would we see people go home? Even from them, it's negligence. Is Tanzania not beating us? And that's why the Standard came in and asked the question, on corruption, the president is all about back. We haven't seen anything on the ground.
I think it's unfortunate that this accident happens, and we lost lives. Very, very unfortunate. And my heartfelt condolences goes to the family.
Yes.
for those who lost their lives. But I want also to say that Kenya as a government operates as a rule of the law. When somebody tells me, Mr. Simba, you have stolen something from this studio, and you don't just come and say, you get arrested. I think we need to have a due process of an investigation. And I'm saying that those who are responsible, responsible, and saying being responsible, I mean those who are in charge of issuing licenses and giving recommendation for such a plan to be put up,
yes,
should be arrested. I'm not saying that they should be left just like that. And the government has already started to arrest those people. You know, when your name is mentioned without some evidence, I will not just come and arrest you. We need to have some evidence that is linking you directly in the opposition's responsibility for you to be arrested. So when we say the minister, those officials who are under him who should be responsible for this. And those are the people, if they went against the law,
yes,
that guide them to serve as public servant, I think they have to be arrested and they have to go home. But now the government has started. Arrests have been made. But you cannot just go and arresting everybody just because an accident. You don't just go arresting everybody just because I've been mentioned or this has happened. No. You arrest the person who are the responsibility. Those who are in charge of issuing the licenses directly should be arrested and should be dismissed. But the government already has swung in action and is doing the same.
On the account of the operation of this particular department, because it will essentially come to that this came from this particular department, that there is a boss of this particular department who's supposed to oversee the correct operation of these particular businesses. Are they not also supposed to be brought to book that you were sitting right there as the boss of this particular company, as the chair of this particular board, as the boss of this particular ministry, but this is happening in your ministry, and you're telling me, Douglas, that there could be more in this country that I do not know? Because when you stand and say all those wrong operators, they're going to be brought to book, so that's you saying that they are there, but you don't know them as a ministry. How is that possible? Is that not enough for you to send you home?
You know, my brother, you cannot legislate morality. You can't legislate morality. And I cannot say that the government is completely clean. We have got some rotten apples, as I said. But those are the rebels that are going to be identified and be taken home. Like the unfortunate incident that has happened. I'm saying those who are responsible.
Maybe Douglas, I should ask this question, Mr. Shuka, this morning. I should ask you a direct question then, before I cross over to Sankara. And we're going to look at about another issue as well, where Kenyans have lost their lives as we speak this morning as well. Would you be satisfied, and I will put it directly to you, would you be happy today if the president came in and made a declaration that he wants to dissolve, or he will dissolve the entire NEMA board? He will come in and change the CS energy because of exactly what has happened here today. And would you be happy if the president also orders investigations against Nairobi Governor Sakaja and those guys at the PA, at the Ministry of Energy for what has gone on here today? That where he has the powers to fire and dissolve, he can do that. Would you be happy?
I think that's a very delicate question. And as I said, you don't just go fire people just because they've been mentioned. You fire them because they're directly responsible for what has happened.
What about negligence?
Negligence, yes. Those who are responsible, they should be fired.
And negligence in the sense of you have a boss here who has a ministry that has rogue operators in it. What is he doing? Is that not negligence? That you fail to identify them?
I think there is a level. There is a level of operation up to that level. I think those people, and I'm saying, those people who are in charge of licensing, because that's where the rotten apples are.
Why don't you just
licensing?
mention
That's where the rotten apples are. Those who are in charge of licensing, because these people, if we have cartels, then they are in the licensing department. So investigation must be done to find out who authorized this license This is the person who is supposed to be arrested.
Yes.
And this is the person who was supposed to be fired.
But Lucy, I'm gonna cross over to you.
But we can't just go on just firing Mr. Simba because he has been mentioned, Mr. Sakaja, the governor's excellency. I don't think it's right.
Yes.
But since the investigation is going on, those people who will found to have slept on the job should be fired.
Lucy, let me cross over to you this morning as well. I'm going to point you out to a discussion that is also emanating from this. There's a story again that we covered on our website on www.lookuptv.co.ke. Now listen to this. Detectives from Embakasi, DCI, who are essentially probing the explosion at the gas refill point in Murandi, Nairobi, are a step away from recommending murder charges against the proprietors already in custody. That for them, those are murder charges against the four that are already in custody. Because they've gone in, they've looked at the lives that have been lost, they've looked at the negligence in running that particular business without essentially following the protocols that have been given out by the relevant ministries. So this is my question, and I want to read it to you. We did that story, by the way. You can actually get it on our website. So even if they are a step away from recommending murder charges, just like Douglas is saying, that indeed it is a chain. It is a chain. Somebody somewhere gave a license. Somebody somewhere didn't do proper investigations, isn't it, to know who this license has been given to. And by the way, there's a particular report again that came from NEMA. That business tried 3 times. 3 times, stricken off once, stricken off twice, stricken off 3 times, but now they finally got that particular license. No. Is it not okay then, but just Lucy, is it not okay then that DCI would also say that whoever then is involved in this particular case will also get a murder charge?
Actually, this is not rocket science. Yes. Like my brother here is saying.
Yes,
it's not, I don't even see how a simple watch, not you are quoting him, a simple watchman.
Yes.
And here you say you are still looking for the people who are in charge. Then being in charge is just automatic, unless we have no government. Unless the systems died long time, unless this is a rogue government. Here we know very well, NEMA, who is in charge of Nairobi, is known.
Doesn't.
Who is the CEO of Nairobi County? He is known. Who is the PS? He is known. Who is the CS? He is known. And this is not the very first time these things have happened. So even if you say we change the CSs, it will still be a mess. We want them to step aside. They might not be like you're talking about mandras.
Yes.
We cannot say they are mandras right now.
Yes.
But along the watchman, if it is a must that the watchman should be there,
yes.
Maybe he can be there, yes, for actually helping with investigations. Then this top chain, we are not looking. They are known. They should be there. Otherwise, anything else different out of that is an insult to Kenyans.
Sankara, let me point you out to this particular conversation as well. I mean, when you look for the president's declaration on this particular issue, Sankara, you find it only once. It's only one statement about the concern about the lives that have been lost in Embakasi. 6 essentially gone, and a lot of people homeless, destruction of property in a larger scale. As we speak right now, the only thing that we've seen is that, well, the people are pushing for them to be compensated, and I did see talking about 5,000 shillings as it again come up. There is now the Azimio side that is pushing for all those people that were involved in that particular tragedy to be essentially moved to the affordable housing units that are already in the country. That will stop. But then the question is, I mean, if you're going to fight corruption and your president was coming and saying, in my government there's not going to be corruption, this could have been a starting point for you to push lessons to any other person who's in that chain. Because what we're talking about here is a result of corruption within government systems. It's an accident that could have been avoided if these people couldn't get their hands on that license to continue doing their business. Are you concerned that he's not on it? That he's not on it the way he should be on it?
I'm disturbed. And by the way, let me first get back to what I was saying before I come to what you discussed now. I'm not surprised that the Kenya Kwanza administration is trying to deploy a thorax mentality to investigate a fire scenario.
Yes.
The investigation is not seeking to establish an intrusion. The watchman could be held accountable. Supposedly someone walked in and lit the fire. This was a technical issue.
Yes.
We ought to have employed a scientific approach in handling it, if not the legal procedure that the government seemingly has deviated from.
Yes.
I'm saying this because this is a government that is advocating for an economic revolution using a 13th century tool, which has never worked.
Yes.
You can see how it is failing terribly. And it is not my prayer that a government fails. I'm a patriotic citizen, but I must call it out. So the role of the DCIA is not to establish who was manning the gate. We are not speaking of gas plants being stolen. We are speaking of fire coming out. We deal with technicians who set the entire structure. We deal with technicians who ensure safety. We have safety measures of any working environment. We point out to NEMA. So to sum up the entire conversation, I don't want to be repetitive of myself. I'm crystal clear that the president I'm addressing the president because he's the commander-in-chief. I'm not addressing Murkomen or CS Kindiki. They take orders from the president.
Yes.
The president has the powers to declare the CS suspended, not fired. And the underlining word there is suspended.
Stepping aside.
People have been suspended or even removed from job. Upon thorough investigations, they are reinstated. This is a constitutional process. We are in a democratic society. The hell behind this entire saga is the trial attempts by the plant operators to get the certificate. One being squashed, second one being slashed, then the third way they get it. There must be a senior government cartel behind this fire plant. And take it from me, with the razzmatazz in the streets, we expect nothing. I will come back here one day and tell you that nothing has been done. You see, the president is so quiet, in as much as he's saying he is sorry for what has happened. It doesn't stop there. As a president, he can offer more to reinstate the trust in the people of Kenya.
Yes.
That is the commander-in-chief and is solely responsible for the right of living. Because the president swore when he was being given oath, when he was taking oath of office, he swore to protect, defend, and protect the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya. In that particular Constitution, there is an article which speaks of the right to live. A right to life has been cut short out of professional negligence and, let's say, corruption. As a president who swore to protect that constitution, the constitution has been violated because a life has been lost or lives have been lost under unclear circumstances. What do I do? As the commander-in-chief, first things first. What the president or the government is doing, those are last things first. In procurement, we have a rule when you store items in the store. It's called FIFO and LIFO. Last in, first out. First in, first out. We need to do first things first.
Yes.
The people who issued the certificates, the president will just make a declaration, step aside, pave way for proper investigations. Because
I'm going to come to you.
Yes. Mr. Shiuka,
it's taking too long.
I'm taking to you.
Yes, Sankara.
Mr. Shiuka, I'm not taking too much time. You Kenya Kwanza supporters, or when I say sycophants, you say I'm disrespectful.
We selected a
You are acting
let him continue.
And you are not thinking through issues.
Just a minute, Sankara, clear your submission. Just a minute.
You see, that's what we are suffering from, is that we have a government and its supporters who are allergic to reality. They are allergic to truth. You see, Mr. Shiuka is so irritated when I'm trying to speak what... But that's why we have the COK 2010. The constitution was passed so that I can speak. I know if you were in a dark room somewhere, you would not allow me to speak. But now that
Sankara, you done?
I'm not done. You got me short.
Just 1 minute. You have a minute.
What I'm saying is, to sum up the entire conversation, watchmen do not certify certificates of operation. Let us go for who matters most. At what time?
That's it.
That is it.
That's it. But guess what? Is it okay for us to move into the next issue? Because we do have a law that we're looking at this morning. Yes. 1 minute. Shiuka, please, if you can.
The President of the Republic of Kenya cannot be everywhere. And he cannot be commenting on everything. That is number one. Number two, when you come to responsibility, onto responsibility because of loss of life, how many people have been lost when the leader of Azimio, Raila Omolo Odinga, has called for mass action? People have died. Has he taken responsibility for the people?
Let him continue.
When we respond in the Raila Odinga segment,
we have 30 seconds. Yes, 30 seconds.
When we talk about owning responsibility, we are asking the government to take responsibility. The government has taken steps to institute investigation so that it can deal with the right people. You cannot just deal with people because of a roadside regulation.
I don't speak for Azimio. I'm not in Azimio.
What I agree with you is those people who are responsible. The person who issued the license after being rejected for the 3 times, that person, I agree with you, should be arrested.
Yes,
and that's why I'm saying we should have due process. We should not just go arresting everybody here and there. And I want also to say this: if it comes for responsibility because of death, I also want Raila Omolo Odinga to people. It is the police. Because they don't understand what is the constitution. The right people die. This kind of things that people are allergic to truth. You don't understand the rule of
Sankara, I'm going to come back to you. Sankara, listen, I'm going to come back to you. Sankara, I'm going to come. Yes. Sankara, I'm going to back to you. Mr. Shiuka, just Sankara, I'm going to come back to you. Listen, I want you to pick it up like
this. Yes.
Sankara, can I jump in? They're gonna turn your mics off. We gotta give each other time. That's fine. That's fine. Lucy,
you know,
Sankara, one after the other.
Simba, we're on a national TV.
That's it.
This is a very, very serious issue we are talking about. It cannot be trivialized to comparing it to demonstrations and all that. These are people. You're trivializing.
Let's give her time.
Let me finish. Yes. We cannot sit here on a national TV and start trivializing this. You did this. You did this. These are Kenyans. These are Kenyans who have the right to live, who are dead, who are families, who are homeless. So when Raila actually went there yesterday, they should be actually being given those affordable houses. I think that even should have even come from the president himself. That is where we would have started. So those people have the right, and we should not be just meandering looking for those people who did what. We know them. What we are saying is, with immediate effect, to stop insulting Kenyans, to stop mixing things, to stop tribalizing things, those people in charge, the CS, the minister, they should step aside as this is being sorted, pave way for investigations, and we get them. Yes, if they are not even arrested, they should be actually by now out there as we wait for investigations. Even the watchman is okay. Even the watchman is okay. And while we are doing that, let those Kenyans be given those houses. And like you said, many have died. They are being killed silently. And being killed is not just gas and guns. There are people who are dying because of stress. What do you think is going through the minds of those Kenyans that lost their families, that they are homeless today, their children are not going to school? What do you think is going on? That's why you find people getting
we have to take a break. We have just hold on. Chiuka, just for the sake of our audience that really wants to follow exactly where we are. But we have to move away from, because of all these issues that we're talking about this morning, they are tired about government systems.
It's 30 seconds.
It's about
allow me say
Just hold on. Sankara.
You don't have the right to tell me when to speak and when not to speak.
Sankara. Just
allow me.
I gotta introduce the next story. There is another story that I want us to talk about this morning. Yes.
What I'm saying.
Sankara, there is another story that I want to introduce.
Mr. Simba,
Sankara,
with due respect,
if we can, Sheila, if you can then introduce the next story that we're going to look at this morning. That's all right. We're going to come to it. If we can look into the next story, it's about other Kenyans, by the way, who've lost lives as we start the show this morning. It's about a scourge that we've been fighting in this country, which is essentially on the sale of illicit brew. One man was given that job, was Rigathi Gachagua, has made proper advancements on it. In fact, there's even a Nyandarua bill that is supposed to regulate the sale of alcohol. But as we start this morning, majority of them who took that illicit brew have gone blind, and some have lost their lives. Once we come back, talk about paying school fee through a citizen, missing IDs that we can't see, as well as this next issue for illicit brew. Once we come back right here on the Morning Drift.
What about mambo fantastic if not scholastic? Chota kuchota na Hatia Supermarket imerudi. Ukifanya tu shopping ya shilingi 1,000, wewe unaingia kwa promotion ya chota kuchota na Hatia Supermarket. Watu wanaendelea kushinda ndani ya Hatia Supermarket. Kitoko. Wewe na
nini? Yote. Hamsa, uoga na lala.
Karibu ndani ya Hatia Supermarket uweze kuchota kwa wingi kabisa. Watu wanasema nini? Nakwambia kwamba chota kuchota. Unangoja nini?
Magari 7 za kushindaniwa, TV, free, microwave, shopping vouchers, school fees vouchers, instant prizes na zawadi zingine kemkem. Chota kuchota imethaminiwa na Hetia's Oven Fresh Bakery, Gigabyte, Mount Kenya Milk, Clover's Food Products, Velvet, Magic Drink, Pwani Oil, Arenco, Fruit Juice, Master Chef, Toilets, Coolsip, Mika, Wash Ultra, Philos, Prestol, Nivea, My Choice, Ushindi, Fresh Fry, Aribis Jelly, Cabernet Water, Dettol, Ketepa, Meta, Glucose, Coca-Cola, Rose Tissue, Big Giant, Elbins, Unilever, Fresh, Unga wa Dola, Blue Band na Pasta Star. Shindano la chota kuchota linaanza tarehe 1 Disemba hadi tarehe 10 Februari mwaka 2024.
Hatia Supermarket, a world of choice.
Infinity Industrial Park is one of the largest private industrial parks located along Eastern Bypass, Nairobi, which provides modern infrastructure for smooth operations for industries and business enterprises. Infinity Industrial Park offers world-class amenities and facilities with wide roads, a police station, a power substation, fire station, public transport stage, hospital, and shopping mall. In addition, Infinity Industrial Park also offers CCTV cameras, 24-hour private armed security patrol, sewer, water, fiber optic cable, and 3-phase power connection, added to public utility, canteen, and dining areas. Sail on the golden opportunity to invest in Infinity Industrial Park fully serviced warehouses at a special price of 3,569 Kenyan shillings per square foot. For more inquiries, visit our website infinityindustrialpark.com.
Winner of the 32nd edition, representing also the EMC, Weldon Langat.
Every time you play Lotto, 25% goes to the Lotto Foundation, which supports our fellow Kenyans through various causes. Thank you for your help. Together, we are changing lives.
All right. Welcome back to the Morning Drift. We are weighing in on government systems this morning. The big conversation is about missing ideas and the e-citizen platform the majority of Kenyans now have to wake up to. Pay school fee through. Now, we're talking about loss of lives. So for the next 10 minutes or so, let's just weigh in on another story that we're waking up to this morning, where again, 7 Kenyans have lost their life again. And it's because of a story or an issue that the government has been fighting for a very long time. It is illicit brew. And one man essentially decided to take up that job, essentially in the central part of Kenya, which is marked as one of those areas that are heavily hit by this particular vice of drinking and production of illicit brew. Let's take a look at that story. Once we come back, talk about it.
From a night of party and dance to barely comprehending their surroundings, a poisonous brew that killed 6 people in Kangai, Kirinyaga County has left others fighting for their lives.
Kuja hapa kwa mama yangu, amekunywa pombe, sijui ni pombe gani, amekunywa wasasi wengi walikufa jana, leo walikufa, hata Kirugoya alikufa, hata hapa Kalia walikufa, 8, sijui tutapeleka wapi, watoto wetu.
Authorities now say they are working around the clock to bring perpetrators to book. Swear? Following the death of 5 people allegedly killed by illegal alcohol in the area of Kiambu County, Nakada, KEBS and KRA joined forces to crack down illegal alcohol in the area. Area residents have supported the action, adding that many bars have been opened in residential areas, urging the county government to involve the public when licensing bars.
Hapa tarehe ngapi tulikuwa tunataka hii vilabu ifungwe. Hii kijiji iko na vilabu 4. Na kuna mambo mengi inaendelea sana. Si tunafurahia juu wamesikia kilio yetu, wamekuja na wakafunga hii vilabu. Tunasikia vizuri sana.
The residents have also accused county government of Kiambu for licensing bars without conducting any background check, saying that illegal alcohol and drugs have caused the death of 5 people and caused great harm to youths in the region.
Maria za kibilabu kwanza wanashirikiana na wanakijiji, wanajua vile hali iko na mahali inaekwa, ili hata wakitoa sheria za pombe kuuza ikuwe imekazwa kabisa. Si ati kuweka masaji, hata kwa kifungua unapata masaa yenye wamepatiwa sio wanafungua nayo.
Nakada CEO Anthony Merikwa said the 3 institutions will cooperate with the county government to inspect licensed bar in the bid to stop illegal alcohol and bring perpetrators to book.
My name is Anthony Merikwa. I'm the CEO of Nakada. That's specifically emanating from the hue and cry that came from the community of Ndeia last week. Out of that, we started carrying out a compliance check on the establishments here to ensure that not only are they compliant, observing the specified time, making sure that they are licensed.
Shamila Baraza, Lookuptv.
So not just the 6 that reported, the 7 actually that reported were in one area. As you could hear, there are more again that even go back to last week. Now, let me read for you some numbers here that are essentially just going to put us up to speed on why the Mount Kenya region has been marked as an area that needs urgent action. Now, let's talk about the use of potable spirits. In the country, it's at 2.5%, all right? But in Mount Kenya, it currently is at 4.1%. Giving us a national average, and if the national average is 2.5%, you can see where Mount Kenya is 4.1%. We continue again. If you look at the 12.8% of Mount Kenya residents aged between 15 and 65, 12.8% of those, like between 15 and 65, who consume alcohol in the country, you're going to read about 18%, 11.8% being, actually, let me just read it correctly, 12.8% of those aged between 15 and 65 consume alcohol in Mount Kenya region. The national percentage is 11.8%. So you can see 1% more, again, from this particular region. Now let's talk about a law that the Deputy President did pass the other day that is essentially supposed to come in and sort of start charting out to help this particular area. Now they realize that you can't stop the production of local brew. But then they want any other person, even if you're preparing this local brew, to get a license to manufacture this particular alcohol. Currently, as it is, majority of Nyandarua residents have passed it. Other counties in Mount Kenya are also on the verge of passing this particular law. But looks like it has not stopped anything. Let me start with you, Sankara. It's another case of lives lost in an area where the government is seemingly losing a fight. What is not working? I mean, the laws are there, the rules are there, but more Kenyans are dying. Is it hard for you not to know where alcohol is getting produced and sold? Let's begin from that, Sankara.
Maybe drawing an example from my village in Kadiju,
yes,
in Kisumu, it will not be hard for the chief and the sub-chief to know exactly which joints entertain alcohol and even these illegal substances. Or yes, so I think it's a matter of systems failure and deliberate attempts to fail the state by people who have been entrusted with the responsibility.
Yes.
And again, I fault the government because in most instances, the government applies knee-jerk reactions to issues as opposed to sustainable, long-term or sustainable approaches that ensures total eradication of that particular calamity. I have gone for a ratio in a Kikuyu language, traditional wedding in Mount Kenya. And I was surprised what I saw. People take alcohol in my village, but not as I saw it there. When the national statistics places them at the peak of the pyramid, it is nothing but the truth. A young man of my age, in his 25s or 24, is walking with a bottle of alcohol. Since I went there at around 9 a.m. and we left by around 7 p.m., this guy was drunk all through. They were in a group of at least 25 men. And out of these 25 men, all of them, I'm now giving my statistics, may I not rely on government statistics.
Also.
All of these young men were drunk. Whenever a jerrycan of local brew was brought or seen somewhere, you would see them scrambling for that particular sip. This is a reality. I was shocked. In fact, the people I worked with saw that mood in me and they were like, you care for people who enjoy their lives. But I said, no. In as much as they are enjoying, the freedom of entertainment has got limitations because some may jeopardize your life. We have to take cautions while doing some other things. So I would advise Rigathi Gachagua-led operation to ensure that they put in place sustainable long-term goals and approaches that will ensure these young men and women hooked in alcoholism detaches from that. Alcohol or rehabilitation, I'm not an expert when it comes to matters rehabilitation, but I'm fairly intelligent and well informed. These young men need to be rehabilitated. At times, before you criminalize something, sell the pros and cons to the consumer so that they really prepare psychologically for the outcomes. But again, it goes back to what I had said. When I said that the government kills citizens daily, indirectly, I meant it. Because these young men and women are hopeless. The government has left them, nyinyi mukae, kama mutaishi ni sawa mutaseka. Mukikufa, tutakuja kupiga siasa za cost of living na affordable housing kwa matanga zenu. So these guys are left there. They're actually some of the young men hooked in drugs. I can say from my own point of experience, it is not because they love consuming these substances. These young men and women are depressed. You have a family in Nairobi, you have no job, you have to pay rent, you want to look clean, you want to pay bills. There are a lot. At home you also have to support, and the government will come and tell you, sisi maisha imekuwa ngumu, tupe nafasi. Utasema nini? Wacha niingie hapa kwa mama pima, ni chape glass tano, ni cool na akili. The moment you wake up tomorrow, the problem recurs. I heard of a radio conversation where a young man was confessing of knowing illegal alcohol dens in Rift Valley. He was ready to lead the chief to that point. But again, he was being asked, it's a popular radio show, why do you consume alcohol? He says, my problems don't allow me to live a sober life. I have to take alcohol to, to look okay. So alcohol gives you false confidence and illusion. That when you take it, you wake up tomorrow, you are good to go. But again, the problem is left there. So my urge to the government, they can take it or leave it, but as a leader, I'm concerned on the progress of this nation. That in a society where young men and women are left to die in alcohol and substance consumption, then there is no sufficient guarantee for a progressive society beyond tomorrow. The young men and women, we ought to have put in place first rehabilitation centers. We have to first address the economic challenge that leaves the youth desperate for anything. An economically undermined or disadvantaged young man is, is capable of doing anything as long as it pushes life.
Pretty much.
So let us protect the young men. What we lack is a sufficient protection mechanism.
That's it. The laws are there, and you can see exactly how even the Nyandarua County alcohol bill is. Like, we're not stopping them from preparing, but can we at least have them prepare what is legal?
I am from Mount Kenya.
That's it.
And at the moment, the biggest killer in Mount Kenya is not road accidents. It is as a result of this alcoholism. And I would say where we have reached right now, we've just been treating the symptoms without treating the cause of the problem. We're just looking at these young people, not only young people, even women and men. We are just looking, and they are messed up so many things. Homes have been broken. Husbands have run away. Women have run away from their homes as a result of this. What is the root cause? I think where the government is right now, we should be taking this one as a serious pandemic, because it is beyond just talking about demolishing, looking for licenses. And I commend the government anywhere they have done good, they have, and it has been continuous. The day before yesterday, I saw on the TV in Bugoma, I think you saw it, where they unearthed as a big plot where there are these cabs, there are all these, before they used to have the hard ones, the hot drinks, those ones are the ones they used to pack. Now they are packing Tusker, they are packing Guinness, they are packing all these things from KBL, you see, and it was a big plot. And whoever lives around there, they say, oh, this has been happening for the longest. How would you have a big factory? Forget about now the selling and the licenses at the bars. The manufacturers, wherever they do this manufacturing, someone is protecting them. And the protector is none other than the system. Because the system, we have CIDs. When we have the CID, if they cannot tell there's a huge, if a building like this, people saw lorries coming here, putting, I don't know, Tuskers there, caves things, and boxes coming out every day, would you not be questioning? And unfortunately, these people, where they were doing the packaging and the production of all this, I'm talking about 2 days ago in Bugoma, and the commandant was saying it was a tip-off from the neighbors, and thank you to those neighbors, because it is the same place where those Pombe was. These neighbors are still in the same compound, but they never knew what was going on as from what they were saying. So it's a high time the government, if Gachagua is really serious for the people, not only Mount Kenya, to finish, and whoever actually owns this factory, this manufacturing den in Bugoma, is someone from Mount Kenya. It's a miner somewhere. So if they are serious, let us look at the root causes. And the root causes is like what he just said. Our youth, they're having, it's not just, there is poverty, lack of jobs, they are jobless, high cost of living. So all these things, like you were saying, they just take and say, I've heard them say, I told you I'm from Mount Kenya, and they say, what do you want us to do? We stop drinking the cheap 10 bob, it keeps you high the whole day or the whole week. And then you're telling me to stop. To do what?
Yes.
I have no job. I have a family. I have a wife. I have children. What do you want me to do? I can't depend for my rent. I can't build myself a home. I even most of them, they are those who finished school. University graduates. They have just given up. And then eventually you hear someone hanged themselves. They were found in the house killed. Those are the things we should be looking at. When we have a masses of youth, they are all the time, they kill themselves, they hang themselves, especially men. And then women, all the time, they have been slaughtered in the Airbnbs. They have been following people who have money. Why are they doing this? This is a big sign. There's a problem.
Desperation,
depression, and it is there. And when these kids are depressed like this, what do you think would happen to the older people, their parents? And that's why these are things actually I've done research on. As I take care of the elderly, you know, my organization is about the older person. Yeah. These are some of the things that are affecting even the older people. Long before, older people used to be taken care of by their children. Today, there's no child who can take care of their older people. If anything, the older people in their 80s, they are the ones who are taking care of their young people. You are educating your son and your daughter to get a job. And now here we are busy telling Kenyans, oh, we are creating jobs. You can go kwa Mujengo. That's why we are having the affordable housing, because you can get jobs there. You can go push wheelbarrow there. And we have jobs. Kila mtu ni plumber. And that is why also we have jobs for you abroad. And the same abroad, you're being told there are jobs, these jobs of watchmen in Saudi Arabia and house girls. They are there. Now you don't even have an ID to get yourself a passport.
No, even
we are going there. You can't even get a passport. And now you're told we have a solution, we have jobs there. You cannot just walk to Saudi Arabia. You cannot just walk to the US. You need documents.
Millions of jobs
and then millions, and then there are no documents.
The clear framework of how to get to abroad.
So anyway, simply, we should have another way of looking at it. We need a serious way of analyzing this. It's not even about bars. Bars were there even before. It's not just about people getting drunk. Why are they drunk?
Wine has been there since time
immemorial. Even tradition brews were there. Why were people not dying? So we need to look at the real
proper
issue.
framework, isn't it?
Yes.
Good. Douglas, is that what it is? It's a fight that the government is having essentially, again, in the Mount Kenya region, but then it seems not to be working at a time when even the deputy president is even sworn to lose his political career in the region, just to make sure that that particular vice doesn't kill the youth of the Mount Kenya.
First, I must applaud the government and His Excellency the Deputy President for identifying this menace in the Mount Kenya region and going for it. And in the same breath, also say that those people who have slept on the job, because in terms of licensing this illegal brew and manufacturing, we must have people on the ground who have slept on the job. These are sub-chiefs and chiefs. These people must be brought to account why they let those things to happen on the ground. Because if we cannot stop at the preparation level, you know, how they are prepared, how they are manufactured. If we cannot tackle that problem, then we can never tackle it. So to me, the problem is at the manufacturing level and at the licensing level. So those people are supposed to be responsible for this thing, and they are supposed to be brought to account are the sub-chiefs who are on the ground, who are supposed to give the information. They know the people who are on the ground and what is happening. So the buck stops with these people. They should be brought to account. But I applaud the president and the deputy president for focusing in that area and trying to make it.
Pretty much. Could you allow me? So we move into the next issue.
Can I say something? Because this is really too much in my county. In my county of Isiolo, the young people have really died, and even now they are dying. Actually, people are sending me messages. And while I'm here, I would request the president himself to take action in Isiolo. The youth, they have become maimed, they have become almost like nothing. They are drunk, not only drinking, not only substance, there are also drugs there. And they are there, and the people who are selling the drugs, they are known, unfortunately. And then it has been happening for the longest. I've even accompanied those chiefs and the police bosses to go to those dens. We've been there. If anything, they just pour. They pour just in those cubes. They find it there and pour it. Is that enough? They pour it. The next thing, that old mama who is brewing asks you, what do you want me to do? Have you empowered me? Yeah, I would want to stop. Even me, I don't want this. But my children have to eat. They have to go to school. And I have also to be involved, to be doing something. I don't have anything to do because I must run my daily life.
The Maslow hierarchy of needs does
exactly.
not allow the
hierarchy of needs. I have
away.
no house here. I've rented a kiosk. This kiosk I cannot even pay. I cannot clothe my children.
Is it possible to even say, but because if you look at this bill that the Deputy President essentially pushed to Nyandarua, it doesn't essentially make them illegal. They want to make sure that even as you prepare your traditional liquor, it is licensed, that we identify this is our traditional liquor.
That one is, the giving of licenses is for them to be able to collect the levies.
Taxes.
It's not about actually
it's not about the safety of
consumption. It's not about the safety. I told you I come from a place where these things are very bad. I hope the people of Isiolo are looking at me. And I'm talking to you, Mr. President. The people of Isiolo, the young people are finishing. We need you there. The drug dealers are known there. Those people who are doing those pombes, they are known. Save those children. Yes.
Let's move. Yeah. If you could allow me, lady and gentlemen.
You are allowed, Simba.
Let's move into the next issue this morning. And Sankara, you're the one who's going to introduce us into this conversation. There's an announcement that came from the Ministry of Education that now, currently it is, the government wants all parents, especially the ones who are taking their kids to the national schools, as it's going to start from there, as they continue to expand the program, to pay their school fee through e-citizen. And if you look at the thinking behind this, Sankara, is to have all government services in one portal, as it currently is, by the way. Sankara, you can register your car. The NTSA platform is domiciled on the e-citizen platform. There's just a lot that government services now, essentially 100% migration of government services to e-citizen portal. So the government can make it easier then for Kenyans to access these services and also track these particular services. It's easier if all of them are in one portal. But what is shocking is then telling parents that, well, you got to pay school fee through e-citizen, that the move is informed of making it a bit easier and softer. As you introduce that as well, while it's now possible for you to get your ID on e-citizen platform, you go in, register on the Huduma centers, book Ascension, and then after that get your IDs. Kenyans are complaining, and I'll tell you why they're complaining. Sankara is currently, as it is now, by the way, if you apply for an ID, it's going to be very, very impossible for you to get it because the government had wanted to migrate Kenyans onto their new Maisha number. So the new or the third generation cards, which you're supposed to apply and get currently as it is, cannot continue because the courts has essentially put an injunction on it by lacking a data protection framework, which is the same thing that they said about the Huduma number, which was changed into the Maisha number. So currently as it is, Kenyans are being worded as why they have to pay now school fee through e-citizen. And also on that application for IDs, it's now impossible for you to get it. The government knows very well that you can't get it because they want the third generation IDs to continue or to start getting supplied, but the courts stopped it. Sankara, let's first start with the first one. School fee. Is it ever necessary to pay school fee through the e-citizen platform?
Thank you. I would say that I actually wanted to handle the first issue, the school fee payment.
Yes.
Just as I told you, I'm talking from a point of information. For your information, I sit in a GSS board of management as a signatory to the bank account.
Yes.
That to say I'm privy to government disbursement of the, how do we call the allocations per head?
Yes.
The capitations and how they come to schools.
Yes.
In my sister's secondary school, that is Migingo Girls, I'm a close member because I'm a PA board member.
Yes.
Allow me ask, if the essence of e-citizen is to allow citizens access services on the government portal, which service is a parent going to access by paying fee on e-citizen? Which services particularly there? Are we paying fee for parents to access that fee online, or are we paying fees to sustain school programs in school?
Yes.
I will tell you there are some naked truth that the government will not tell you. The government says students should go to school. Taking a child to school is an expensive affair. It is an investment. In our school, they call us dear investors, not parents alone. You are investing your emotions, you are investing your time,
Yes.
you are investing your efforts and finances to ensure that a product gives an outcome. That is the results. And for the sake of this, allow me say, a secondary school exam result is not a product of a child. It is a coordinated effort of a parent, the student, and the school that work in tandemly to ensure that success is achieved. Back to the elephant in the house. Paying fees. Let me start from the legal perspective, though I'm not a lawyer. But let me say this. Article 174 of the Constitution stipulates the procedures that ought to have been taken before something is enacted into law. That the primary objective of the 2010 Constitution and the evolution of power was to give power back to the people, so that the people feel directly responsible for whatever is happening in government.
Yes.
There was no public participation. If there is, I would be willing to humbly sit myself down to be told or even lectured how and when the public participation was done to allow the onboarding of fee payment to the e-citizen account. Number two, there exists no law that compels parents to pay fees on e-citizen. And we need to be realistic. This it's a Jubilee incarnated UDA administration. They seem to be short of information. How well is our country connected to internet? Leave alone this PR stance that the CS ICT has been doing. I have been to places where I installed Wi-Fi and they are not working.
Yes.
You take Wi-Fi to a market where there is no smartphone user. They use card order, and you tell them you've connected them to Wi-Fi. Very rational. Let me pick it. So there was no adequate public participation. Number two, we have students, people like us who came from, who did not come from affluent families. At times I saw my classmates having special arrangements with schools to have alternative fee payment mechanisms.
Yes.
Where a parent who has 3 chicken and the school buys chicken to feed its guests would take the chicken to school and it's added on to their fee. How will I take chicken to e-citizen account? If I had logs of wood to compensate the school, because the school cooks, they don't have power to cook on electricity, the capacity, they use logs. How will I insert that bigger log of mine in e-citizen? There was no adequate public participation. Had they had, then these questions would have been answered. Number three, we have known government for starving various institutions with cash. The moment money goes to the central e-citizen account for the schools to access, how fast will they release that fund to the schools? Are we not anticipating a scenario where students are going to be denied basic necessities in school? Are they going to get food in good time? Are we not going to give our girls and boys an opportunity to even erode themselves to the worst because they're not protected? So, and let me also ask you, the university students have also been, particularly the University of Nairobi, have been told to pay their lunch fee on e-citizen. The e-citizen charges a convenience fee of 50 shillings.
Yes.
The moment any payment is done. Here is a student like Kennedy Sankara wants to buy tea and chapati, which cost 40 bob. But because I'm a student and I have to pay on e-citizen, I will have to pay 90 bob. Who pockets this 50 bob? And for what reason? Or someone I saw asking in a very good language, let me quote that, for what, for what, for? Why? Why should I pay 90 bob to purchase tea and mandazi, which cost 40 bob? Because my interest is to purchase tea and mandazi, a cup of tea, and not the 50 bob. So you look at the entire framework, it lacks the legal backing,
yes,
and popular legitimacy.
Sankara,
and by the way, before I finish, let me say,
yes, in a minute.
This correlates back to what I've been saying.
Yes.
Before the president makes declarations to the government, they ought to have considered that there is a big difference between parliamentary majority,
yes,
and popular legitimacy.
Yes.
In as much as parliamentary majority may guarantee them the power to pass things recklessly, the popular legitimacy will always fight back. That is the court of public opinion.
Lucy, I'm going to come back to you. Remember, you spoke, I took it to Sankara, I want to bring it back. Just hold on. We still have time for this. This is what I want to say, and I want to direct you.
But I didn't finish, Simba.
Yes, just, Sankara, hold
those
on.
were the cons.
Yes,
those
yes.
Were the cons. So
I'm going to come back to you. Okay. I'm going to come back to you on that. I know we're going to talk about the IDs as well. Okay. Just hold on. Douglas, this is exactly where I want you to pick it from. I want to point you out to exactly what it takes then for a parent to pay school fee. You have to go to the e-citizen platform now. Then from there, Lucy and Douglas, there are 5,000 services that are currently offered on the e-citizen platform. So you have to toggle between 5,000 services, go all the way to the school fee payment. Once you get to the school fee payment, number one, you will need to provide your PIN. Number two, you need to know the account number for the specific school that you're paying that school fees to. Then from there, provide the admission number for your kid, and also the school account number. After that, you should have paid your school fee. And the reason as to why they're saying this, and I'll read it to you as well, I'm quoting one, Sosion, who said that this is essentially going to make it easy for parents to cut down things like levies on it. And this is what they're saying, that it will eliminate unnecessary levies. That's according to Sosion. And this is what he's saying, that all services have been loaded with the government so that citizens can get services at the comfort of their houses. That's what the Ministry of Information and Technology is doing to ensure citizen services are available at a citizen platform. But the only reason is for you to pay school fee from the comfort of your house.
Let me hope that I'll not be interrupted by my fellow parents.
Sankara, well informed.
Yes.
Please.
Because I've given them ample time.
Douglas, please.
Okay, now let me say this. Something must start from somewhere. I remember with the introduction of the mobile phones sometimes back, it was very difficult for people to understand how this mobile phone will revolutionize the development of the country.
Yes.
And Kenya Kwanza government has the mandate of the people of Kenya. And this government was elected on the platform because of its manifesto. For the Kenya government has got a contract of 5 years with the people of Kenya. It has to implement its manifesto. After 5 years, now Kenyans we can go back to Kenyans and say, this was our manifesto and this is what we have done. Before any system is introduced in the government, and it is in the manifesto, it goes through a research. It goes through a SWOT analysis. So nothing can come to be implemented by the government just because it has been plucked from somewhere. And this government was elected on the platform of its manifesto, the plan. So anything that is being proposed in the government to be implemented, it is in the government manifesto. Mm-hmm. So I am urging Kenyans to give the Kenya Kwanza government time to implement its manifesto. And then at the end of it all, they will come and say, this is what we did. Mm-hmm. So, but if you stop the government from implementing its manifesto, how will you bring it to account that this is what you did? Because we shall say, you stopped us from implementing the manifesto. So let the Kenyans, and I urge the Kenyans, to give the Kenya Kwanza government time to implement its manifesto.
Why should we give government time to implement?
Sankara, just let him clear.
To implement its manifesto. Yes. And then at the end of it all, they will come for the account. But you cannot ask me, I've just started the journey, then you tell me how are you going to finish the journey? For example, when you see,
I actually read the plan. I was in Kenya.
Sankara, let him clear.
I'm just saying, for example, if you get a nice girl, you court and then you want to marry the girl, and she accepts a hand in marriage. To you, when she comes to stay together,
Do you start asking her now, are we going to get the baby boy or baby child or baby boy?
Mr. Shuka, this is a public service, not a dating ceremony.
No,
where
I was just using it as an example. Yes. You know, marriage, you take it, marriage is for communion, for friendship. You get me? And if children come, it's fine. Give it time. So this is a contract the Kenya Kwanza government has with the Kenyans. I urge Kenyans to be patient with the government, give it time so that it can implement its manifesto. Because this is the platform on which it was elected.
But I want to go back to, Lucy, I want to point you out to another area that you have to touch on here. And Sangara sort of mentioned it. And this is what the chairman of his name is the COG, his name is Mr. Mutai, asking the government to suspend payment of school fee via e-citizen. Well, this is what he said, that at this time of that's the COG of Education Committee, Mr. Chairman Eric Mutai, said that there should be a proper structure and information for the move to be implemented. Going on to say that some parents already come up with a module for payment of that fee.
Yes.
Continue to say some will pay maybe on a quarterly basis until the term is done. He said some of them actually even go in with goods that the school needs. And so the school essentially then values the goods like maize, there's beans here as well, and there's also others who even take cows to be slaughtered so that they could exchange for school fee. He actually continued like that. So he said, we're not saying it's no, but then he said it needs proper public participation to see if parents are willing to go this route. But the question is it ever necessary for us to pay school fee via e-citizen? Lucy.
Thank you, Simba. By our constitution, every child is entitled to free and compulsory education.
No, sir.
Free and compulsory. That means it should be quality education. Even when you want to eat a quality meal, you must bring on quality ingredients. And I don't think what they are bringing in right now is quality ingredient. And I agree with Mutai. If there is anything, even a child, you start by winning, not just starting. My question is, why so sudden change without public participation? Our constitution says public participation. Did they participate? Were even the teachers or the teachers or parents involved anywhere?
Yes.
I've talked to several principals and they're just like they don't know what is next. Question number 2, what is going to happen if they have a system? I'm hoping they have included all this. What's going to happen to parents who pay in kind? There are some parents, you would go to a school, a watchman works there just for his children to get education, to be allowed to stay in school. Some bring firewood. I cannot afford anything else. Mwalimu, wait until I harvest my beans or maize. Then I'll just get it, cook for the children, and then let my children stay in school. I have seen and have participated. Sometimes there are cases where other students, even teachers, they contribute for a certain student so that they are not going to lose maybe during their exams. Are you telling me that all these students, they are going now to contribute and send to e-citizen? Some things, we need that clarification. And that clarification can be there if there is participation. Because what we are doing right now, it is not, I said, we are talking very pertinent issues here. It's not just an argument for the sake of arguing. It is things, they touch on real lives. We are talking to real Kenyans. We are talking to the devastated principals. Running a school has a lot of emergencies. Yeah? Here you are, you need to eat this, maybe this one, maybe you didn't have even unga, the one you had in store, nimbaya. So immediately you need to go and buy unga. What do you use? How long will it take to access that money which is there? And they said, I think you have to write a proposal. And then, how schools cannot work like that. Some of these principals in the schools, actually not even, I was shocked to hear someone like Sosyon, who has been a teacher for the longest. He knows the challenges that the schools have.
Yes, I would. Yes, I confirm.
Imagine, it's a yes, I confirm, I would say. Yeah, because how would you, someone like this who is so respected, even what to be the former principals who worked with him, they say, can I finish?
Let her clear.
Yes.
In a minute, Lucy.
How are the principals going to access that money to purchase what they want?
Yes.
And what was wrong with the previous method, especially for schools? And I heard you say that it's just for the sake to make sure that they do it under the comfort of their own roofs.
Yes.
My brother here said most parents, and I can also attest to that, they have Kandude. They may not have a TV that you can even do it there. And you tell them comfortably stay with your Kadunde and it will be easy for you. They don't even know. The first thing, have they even educated these parents? Did they call them to tell them, when we say e-citizen, what do we mean exactly?
Many people don't know.
They don't even know what is citizen, not even the uneducated ones. Even educated people are computer literate. I think you should have started there. And that's where participation comes in. The e-citizen already has had a scandal of 5.6 million. How sure are we this money for parents would be safe there? The government already has a lot of monies for schools, the capitation. Which is now in the hands of the government. It's supposed to disburse it to the schools. It has not even happened yet. The 22,224 shillings that each child is supposed to get at the beginning of every term, they were promised this term that they would get 50% of that, and 50% is like 11,000. From what I have done, I've done research, collecting from parents, I've collected from teachers. That one has not happened. The principals are still, they are already struggling. And remember, this was not like asking them, can we do it gradually? No, Douglas, there was already a deadline yesterday. By yesterday, all the principals should have submitted or anything in relation to their finances.
But here's the thing. But Lucy, just as you hold on your thoughts, but we're going to come back to you because there's another issue that I want to talk about. It just realized, Sankara, I want to touch on the next issue as well, even as you reflect on that. And since we have 10 minutes for this conversation, Sankara, I'm going to give you 2 minutes so we complete our discussion this morning. It's on capitation, and this is exactly what we're going through. I'm going to read it to you, that currently as it is, getting passports in the country is a mess. But then, when you tell Kenyans, why am I not getting my passport? Because you do not, for you to apply for passport, you pay for it, and then after that, you wait for that service to be rendered to you. But then you wait for months and years for you to get this particular service. Same thing has now happened to identity cards as well, Sankara, to the point that majority of Kenyans currently as it is are not receiving their identity cards. But remember, for you to apply for an identity card, you've got to pay for it as well. Parents have been told pay via e-citizen, and that essentially is going to go to the consolidated fund. E-citizen essentially takes everything.
We already have
consolidated fund. There's even a pay bill number 2222 that essentially takes every fund that you and I collect to the consolidated fund. Before then, the government disburses this money to these particular institutions. Is that where the point is? That, well, we're not receiving our IDs, we're not receiving our passports. How are we sure that this money is going to go to the schools that we're paying for? Sankara.
First, allow me to address something before I go to what I want to address. Mr. Shuka, it's not within your rights to dictate how we are going to converse on this show. It is Simba's show, so you don't set your rules.
Sankara, you're chipping into your time. You're chipping into your time.
No, you see,
Douglas, let me continue. Mr. Shuka, let him continue.
But you don't taking a lot of
2 minutes. 2 minutes, please.
I have the right to speak the way I want.
2 minutes, please. Sankara, continue.
So let me continue. It is not your right to lecture me on how to speak.
Sankara, you already have 1 minute 45 seconds.
No, time
1 minute 45.
Let me continue. Let me say this. The attempts by the UD administration to capture the government services in the so-called one platform is a decoy to capture the states and its services. The president is trying to be in control of all funds in the country because we have seen instances where e-citizen has been hacked for 2 or 3 days and no services were running. Millions of shillings were lost. Infringement into data protection was witnessed. A lot of things. How safe is our e-citizen? But let me leave that aside. On the issue of ID and passport, I was reading some investigative report about the ordeals at the Nyayo House. And you know, I said, the government, this UDA administration is hell-bent on knee-jerk reactions. They have no sustainable plans. The CS Interior went there, paraded himself waking up as a Don student for 2 weeks, only for Kenyans to even anticipate the worst. Let me say this. As we speak today, the president has been creating jobs online in US and whatever country goes. I have privy information if I were to be called here to explain what I'm saying. There are almost 30 people I know who got a job in Poland, but they applied for for the passports in e-citizen. They applied for the 38 pages or the 34 booklet. It is not there. The booklet is not there. I have done my fact-finding within the immigration department. I've established from the workers there that the booklets are not there.
Yes,
but when I was applying, the booklets were there because I paid for the services. It's not my right to print my booklets. The government must avail them. On the IDs, it is also a deliberate attempt because I'm giving my political analysis perspective. In my Nyanza region and Western, we've been reported the most cases of IDs that are not there. Would this not be a plan by the Kenya Kwanza regime to ensure that they reduce our voter potential come 2027? It's a political scheme.
Yes. Mr. Shuka, we also have 2 minutes before we cross over then to Lucy as we get final submissions on exactly what's going on. And I'll read it to you that if on this particular issue for IDs, this is exactly what's going on. The government's wish was to issue Kenyans with Maisha number, which is essentially an export of Huduma number that was rejected by the courts. Well, on the basis of there is no data protection framework on it. So unless you prove it, please do not continue to issue IDs. But then, why would an ID take 2 months to be released? Why would a passport take this long? And then, finally coming to this issue for school fee as well, there's a lack of public participation in all this that we're talking about here this morning, especially on this school fee issue. Why would you jump at it instead of first going through public participation? Because every other official spoken on it is saying, well, I'm not saying it's bad, but can we please embrace it as at least we see what it is? Why can't you go back to the public before implementing it? Mr. Chuka, 2 minutes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Simba. We must give the devil its due. The government has performed very well when it comes to disbursement of funds to the schools and to the government, to the counties, compared to the previous government. At least now it's prompt, better than the previous government. Number two, the Kenya Kwanza government.
Sankara, just hold on. Sankara, you're next.
The Kenya Kwanza government inherited a broken system. So that's what we are trying to fix. That's what the government is trying to fix, the broken system. In fact, nothing was happening at the immigration office when the Kenya Kwanza came to power.
No, Simba, I will not keep quiet. That's a big lie.
Sankara, hold on. Just hold on. Let him clear. He still has his minute, by the way. Sankara, for the sake. Sankara, for the sake. Yes. Shuka, continue,
what you lied to me. That broken system, which
Sankara, hold on.
What I'm saying, and not us.
The government inherited a broken system. Number one. Number
Which
two,
system? How broke was
the
that?
government.
Sankara, hold on.
Who was the second in command?
Sankara, please.
Who was the second in
Sankara,
command?
please.
Let me tell you.
Shuka, you cannot lie.
Sankara,
the government.
Sankara, we only have 5 minutes left for the show.
I'm not lying.
They are taking my time now.
I'm not lying.
You see, Lucy's going to speak next. Sankara.
No, it is my time. What I'm saying.
Sankara, it says. When I'm going to have a discussion, yes,
for the right of reply.
Sankara, I'm going to come to you after Lucy.
Sankara, no, give me time for the right of reply. You have spoken. So you have spoken.
Sankara, you got to give him time.
Let me finish. I'm saying, the Kenya Kwanza government.
That's it, Sankara, give him time.
I'm saying, the Kenya Kwanza government, one, was elected on the virtue of its manifesto. One. Two, it has to implement its manifesto so that it will be brought to account after 5 years. It has got a contract with the people of Kenya for 5 years. Three, it has to be given time to implement its manifesto. You cannot put the pack in front of, put the cart in front of the horse. And then,
it inherited a broken system, which is trying to fix.
How broken?
Sankara, you have 45 seconds. You can be fine.
Yes. So what we are doing, these people should give the Kenya Kwanza government time to implement, and then at the end of the day, it will bring it to account. You cannot stop the government from implementing its manifesto, because its manifesto has gone through research, has gone through SWOT analysis, so it has to be implemented, and the government has got the mandate of the people. The contract for 5 years.
The point is about ideas.
That's it. Lucy, I'm going to point you out to, even as you make that particular remark, I'm going to point you out to another issue that I essentially want you to point out to. And this is exactly what it is, currently as it is, there's a story here about how there are claims of lack of even printing material in the immigration department and broken machines that are essentially leading the government to have this backlog of passports and IDs as well. The question has been, if you are indeed paying for this particular service, all this money is essentially go to the consolidated fund before then Treasury releases this money to these various departments. Is it not okay then for the government to give the immigration department priority in the sense of if Lucy pays 7,000 shillings or 14,000 shillings for their passport, then all this money goes back to giving Lucy the service instead of taking it to the consolidated fund for the government to share these monies in the various departments? Is that what the government has to do now?
Simba, first of all,
yes,
it's about the efficiency of the e-citizen.
Does it?
We had Uduma registration.
Yes.
That spent a lot of Kenyans' money. And all of a sudden, someone went to court and it was nullified. Why do people go to court? It's because the right procedures were not followed. It's because people were not consulted. They were just forced to swallow things, and then the court says, and then we are told that money now disappeared, you have to start another process. The question of ID is a scam, because the minister, Kinditi, when he talked to Kenyans, when the Kenya Kwanza government was just got into office, he said the thing that is going to happen, all these IDs, passports, will be expedited as soon as possible.
Yes.
And so when Kenyans heard it will be taking the longest 2 weeks, a lot of them went. But up to today, this is 1 year and some weeks plus. People have not gotten. The same government is talking about creating jobs abroad. There's no abroad you can go without proper traveling documents. And these documents start from ID, then you go and seek for passport. You cannot get. How are those jobs then going to be beneficial? Here we have another huge problem to the people who come from the northeastern part, Isiolo, Marsabit, and those areas.
Yes.
They do what they call vetting. And we have had people who have been vetted for the last 3 years and they never gotten the ID. Are you telling me they are not Kenyans? Why is that vetting? You are vetted and then at the end of the day you are there. You don't get anything. We also have another vetting, these IDs. You know, in other normal countries, if someone atazaliwe kwa anga ya Kenya, you're on the plane and then the kid falls there, that kid is Kenyan. We have a lot of street children in Kenya today. And a lot of them, those are some of the problems we were saying, where are people killing, where are people drinking? IDs is a problem. Because ID, how do you even go to work? Even a watchman without an ID, you have no identity. How would you seek a job from me?
Yes.
I will ask you, where is your ID? You cannot go to a school, to a college without an ID. How would I do that? So these systems, actually there's any systems which are broken are these systems which are there currently.
Yes.
Because we need IDs, your ID, and for your information is your right.
Yes.
It's not even something to be requesting.
Pretty much.
You have the right to get your ID.
Yes.
And we want the people northeastern not to be disturbed. Mm-hmm. We want them to be given the IDs because they are born in Kenya. This is their country. Even if you are born. The street children, before I finish,
yes,
the street children are Kenyans. They want to go to school. They want to work. And then there are so many of them. Actually, when Wagenis are coming to Kenya, you go into hiding them. You hide them. I've also taken care of street children for the longest. And I know a lot of them, they cannot even go to a driving school because they have no ID.
Yes.
You are telling them, prove. Bring your mother, bring your father. This is a kid who has been on the streets. If they and their mother and their father, they will not be on the street. Can we have a system? Because we have no system. I think that's what Shankara was saying. Currently, there are no systems. We need a system. We need system ya majambas.
Yes, Lucy, you're clear. Yes.
So we need IDs. We need the northeastern people from Isiolo up to be respected.
Yes.
This nonsense of saying, "Oh, you are very fine. You verify children." There are children I know they have not gone to school. They have been admitted to universities even abroad, but they cannot go because they have no IDs. This is making Kenyans suffer. They are already suffering, and this is the same thing that is affecting their parents now. They are affecting their parents. I know someone who got a scholarship, I mean to go abroad, a poor kid from a poor family, and then they were unable to get an ID to get themselves, I mean, a passport and go for that scholarship, which was free. So we're suffering. The ASOLA. What I would say, before this government came in, it was an ASOLA, it is Mama Bogas and ASOLA's government, right? Right now, the Mama Bogas, they have become Boga themselves. Because of the wamekuliwa na wanaendelea, they have become Boga themselves.
Yes.
They have not, their kids can't get a job, they cannot get an ID. If you lose your ID again, it takes forever.
Listen, let me but this Sankara, we only have 2 minutes left. So I'm taking your closing submissions. You're going to have 45 seconds only, Sankara. But just before you do that, here's it is. The application for new identity cards or IDs have piled up to more than 600,000 in the past 2.5 months alone. 600,000 wait, and this raising by 10,000 every day. Now, listen, an additional 5,000 Kenyans apply for replacement of lost or defaced IDs every day. So it's not about the lack of money for application thereof. It's just about the backlog that the government has failed to clear currently as it is. Sankara, 45 seconds. What do you expect the government to do on this particular issue?
Who is investing this money collected from public, the citizens, and where do they invest the money? For information's sake, I know it hurts Kenya Kwanza adherents. They fear the truth. But let me educate you, my viewer. William RUTO, who is the President of the Republic of Kenya, has been the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya for 10 good years. He has patronaged as the second in command of over the broken system that his supporter has just said. Let me tell you, the government's propaganda of creating jobs abroad can only be supported by facts, where the government would say, or on the broken system, that when we came into power, we found a lesser ink printer which was of this capacity, but since we took over from a broken system, we have installed a 10 times more powerful machine than what has been there. Maybe in the Uhuru Kenyatta regime, where he was the commander-in-chief, we only had printing failures, but no booklets were missing. Now today we have no booklets, we have no machines, they're not working. I know.
Clear out, Sankara. Clear.
Simba, yes. Just give me time.
No time, but we've got to step out.
But, okay,
my director is killing us. Just clear. 5 seconds, please. 5 seconds.
Simba, let me finish up by saying, as the chief, he says is the chief mobilizer, Mr. Ishuka, is the chief mobilizer of Kenya Kwanza lobby groups. Please, as you lobby,
the chairman.
Yes. Remember to lobby your parliamentarians and the president to respect the rule of law.
That's it.
The constitution is not a creative convenience.
Ishuka, 45 seconds. My director is killing me. 45 seconds.
I call upon Kenyans to give His Excellency the President, Dr. William Ruto, and the Kenya Kwanza administration time to implement his manifesto for the 5 years. After that, they can bring him to account to say how he performed.
That's it.
So as I finish, I would like actually to request the mobilizer. I'm glad you're here. Please make sure, like you said, the parliamentarians to come up to make sure that there is public participation to respect the rule of law, to respect the Kenyans, to respect the parents, to respect
some
principals.
Of them don't understand what is in the
Constitution. They don't even understand.
The only thing they know is, yes, sir, Mr. President.
Yes. To make sure that these parents actually understand even what citizen is, and to make sure that they tell them, at least if someone has any dignity, even if you are coming to somebody's house and you are late, you usually say, I'm sorry, I'll be late. Then how come our government cannot stand there? We are the backlogs we are talking about.
Yes.
The Kenyans will be put straight. If you are supposed to go to school abroad and you don't have your ID, you see whoever is sponsoring you.
We are not going to have another 2 hours. Going to take power from the government, but we are not going to be silent as they
back online, back to the 10 that journalists right here. And Lookuptv has been a massive show this morning, looking at the issues essentially that have been affecting Kenya as it currently is. Take them back online and Lookuptv across all your social media platforms. Those comments that came in, I didn't even have time to look at them. Guess what? We're going to look at them next time when we do again this show. Douglas, Lucy, Sankara, always a pleasure to have you around, man. We gotta step out. Sheila, take over. Can't say anything after this.